So at 12 years after Die Hard 3, John McClane must face the world of the dangerous digital age, where a simple laptop can be dangerous. It's glitched again. Hey, I'm Jimmy and welcome to my review for Die Hard 4.0 or Live Free Die Hard if you're in the US. I'm talking about the movie, my thoughts and opinions, right before Good Day to Die Hard comes out in the cinemas tomorrow in the UK. I'm also going to be talking about the Uncut DVD, Die Hard 4.0, and talk about my different versions of the movie and why I think the Uncut version is better to watch. Damn you 20th Century Fox for cutting these movies. So let's talk about Die Hard 4.0. Die Hard 4.0 set 12 years advance of Die Hard 3, sees John McClane back as a New York cop again. He's doing what he does best, he's just an ordinary cop, ordinary day kind of thing. And within this movie, you see in the opening of the movie that he sees his daughter relationship kind of thing, Lucy McClane. And you can kind of see that kind of father and daughter relationship, not quite getting on very well, they don't really like each other. And you can see that he hasn't got back together with his wife, which we're kind of hoping for really in a sense. And of course, in typical Die Hard fashion, John McClane goes to the wrong place at the wrong time, where he gets assigned to go and pick up his computer hacker. Here comes this comedy sidekick in a sense, played by Justin Long, and of course things go happen, and these kind of military guys, soldiers, basically want this guy dead, want this hacker dead, and he gets caught up in this kind of cybernetic, kind of cyber world, kind of terrorism in a sense, and basically these cyber terrorists, played by the main leader, played by Timothy Olyphant, is trying to prove a point to the US government that the government is vulnerable to attack in any sense, because the world has become a digital age now, and everything's run on computers, everything's on hardware and software and stuff, and he's trying to prove a point by doing these kind of stages of certain attacks, taking out the government, taking out lighting, taking out Wall Street, taking out money and stuff, just the basic kind of stuff, and then proving a point to the actual government that you need my skills. The US government, the US country is a vulnerable to at any time, and that's his kind of motivation factor. And of course he wants money for it at the end of the day. His services, want to get unpaid. And of course John McClane and his computer hacking friend have to go after them and basically stop them and stop their kind of evil plans, which is just typical Die Hard fashion right there. That's basically the storyline without giving too much away. So what do I think of the storyline? I think the storyline actually is generally quite good. I think this movie is actually really underrated. People really do not like this movie, and they really give it a lot of bashing, and I suppose it's for good reasons, in the sense of lack of violence, lack of swearing. The PG-13 version was at the cinemas in the UK and the US, and it got rid of a lot of basic stuff, and it became more of a superhero type action movie. He was seen more of it as a super kind of guy, typical action hero. And John McClane is not an action hero. He's just at the wrong place at the wrong time. He has to deal with the situation. Compare this one to the first one. He's an action hero, and for me it didn't really bother me as much, to be perfectly honest. I like seeing Bruce Willis as John McClane's a fantastic actor. He does the character really well, and I think he's really good in this movie. The fact that he's just an old character, doesn't get the kind of technological age, is very typical writing in a sense, but it's funny just to see it. I think Justin Lee's character also is really interesting. He's a good comedy sidekick. Not as good as Samuel L. Jackson in the third movie, unfortunately, but still a good character. He's got an honest heart. I don't find him annoying. I felt he was actually interesting as a character, and he actually did do something. He was a hacker. He tried to stop the baddies, and he picked up the gun a couple of times and tried and save him and of course his daughter. Some interesting characters in this movie, not only villains but only good characters also. Even the FBI agents and stuff are really interesting characters also. So I found the storyline was actually really well done, and I liked the idea of taking down a government in certain stages and kind of prove a point, and and I like Timothy Olyphant's kind of performance as this kind of villain, and he's more dangerous than he lets on kind of thing. And I like the action stunt work is absolutely fantastic in this movie, really well done. I really like the kind of fighting, and John McClane fights dirty half the time in this movie because he can't go up against these military guys, even though he did somehow in the second one.
Fucking you.
He has to go and stop them, of course, and he gets into a lot of these situations, all these action scenes, like choreography stuff, and it's really interesting. I really like it, and I really like the drive of the movie, and I really like his character and what he goes through, and we find more backstory and just who he is, and I liked some of the dialogue between him and Justin Long, his character. The dialogue's actually genuinely quite interesting. A lot of tension, and there's a lot of kind of like, you know, race against time moments in it, which is like, ooh, what's going to happen here kind of thing. And I really like to see that within in a Die Hard movie. I like to see that personally. And also, this movie is a very good looking movie. This is from the director of the Underworld movies, I think Underworld 1 and Evolution, I think it is. And it's a generally good looking movie. I really like the look of it. I really like the cinematography. I really like the action scenes. I really like the stunts. I really like the gun scenes and stuff. It's really well done. The only bad thing, of course, is the fact that it is PG-13, the actual theatrical version, and it has very little violence. And the uncut version has all the CGI violence put back in. And that's what really annoys me about some of these movies, especially 20th Century Fox like to do these days, is to show a very edited, watered down version of a character that would have so much compared to the first one, compared to this one. You know, it's like, oh, it's not a Die Hard movie, not truly anyway. I think the storyline is actually excellent. I think the characters are very interesting. They're all well work together. The dialogue's interesting and stuff. But I think the lack of violence, the lack of swearing, is just not enough, to be honest. I mean, it's watchable as a movie without that type of stuff, without that type of violence and swear words. But I always like to see that in it, kind of thing. And that's where the DVD comes in. Now, I of course have the uncut special edition of Die Hard 4.0. Now, if you got the Blu-ray version, you have not got the uncut version. You got the theatrical PG-13 version, which is a huge, huge shame. I would definitely recommend the uncut version only. It's the best way to watch the movie. It has the yippee-ki-yay motherfucker swear back in it, which, why take that out? 20 tracks, what were you thinking taking that out? Seriously. And you do it in the fifth one. Oh, there's going to be hell to pay, my friend. All the violence put back in, the CGI violence put back in, there's a lot more different alternative dialogue, and there's also a little bit of extra violence, a little bit of extra scenes, action scenes in it. It's just a better movie all around. It's you know, it adds to that storyline, adds to the characters, and it makes it a better movie overall. So the Die 4.0 version is definitely the best one to watch for the uncut version, and for all the extras are really well done. So it's a disappointing that the anniversary Blu-ray edition did not include the uncut version, for God knows what reason. So if you're a true Die Hard fan, you'll get this version. Bruce Willis, John McClane, and of course he's the star of the movie. He what drives the movie, and of course I love seeing Bruce Willis as John McClane. And of course in this movie now he's got the full bald look, and he seems to do that in all of his movies now. He doesn't care about the hair, which is a shame because I like seeing him, you know, with full-on set of hair. But I suppose that he makes him look a bit older than he looks like, you know, Harrison Ford does in a sense. But I think he's really good in this movie. I really like his portrayal of this character, and he's continually evolving this character, you know, through and through. And you know, I love the dialogue that he says with Justin Lee's character. You know, if there was someone else that could do it, trust me, I would not be doing it. And the fact that he doesn't like to do it, and he kind of forces himself in a sense, because he knows what the situation is. He knows, you know, I'm going to take out the baggies. And of course, later on it gets a little bit personal with the fact of he kidnapping his daughter, you know, Lucy McClay, and you know, he has to go after them and try and take them out. I love the, you know, the badass one-liners in the sense, and the fighting aspect, and you know, really rooting for, you know, John McClane in this movie.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go kill this guy and get my daughter. Or go get my daughter and kill this guy. Or kill all of them.
The character also is called Timothy Olyphant, the bad guy in this movie. Of course, he's the cyber terrorism, you know, terrorist guy, and he's a really good villain. He's a really good character. I really like Timothy Olyphant's acting style. I really like him. He's a really cool villain in this one, and I really like him going against John McClane. He goes, "You have no idea what." I like his lines. It's really well done. And of course, you have the comedy side in this movie. We have Justin Lee's character. Of course, he's the buddy. In a sense, this is kind of one of those type of buddy cop movies. In a way, in a sense, you know, two you know, odds don't meet to right in a sense. And it's interesting, you know, seeing the old generation meets the new generation in a sense, in terms of music, in terms of style and computer age technology. And I think his character and his performance was really well done. You know, a lot of people seem to really dislike him, and as an actor, I think he's actually really well done. And he does play very typical roles now and again in some movies, but I think in this one, his character performance is generally quite good. It's not as good as Samuel Jackson's performance within the third movie, but I think it's just, you know, it's just plausible. One of the things I didn't like about this movie is the fact that, you know, the whole point of a Die Hard movie is that he's not an action hero. Where in the other movies, he's at the wrong place at the wrong time, and he gets really injured. The first one was obviously a classic example of a guy, at the end of the movie, I'd say he's covered in blood, he's just like a wreck, he's got blood everywhere kind of thing, and he's just got one bullet left in his gun. It's that type of tension, it's that type of music, that type of scoring, cinematography that makes it holy crap kind of thing. One of the things I didn't like is the fact that he went against a jet plane. It's just like, there's a point within a movie which you just don't go across, and you know, seeing John McClane just about outrun a jet plane, you know, manage to go on top of it and, you know, swing off kind of things. Like, I can just about believe that, you know. You know, there's some over-the-top moments within this movie, of course. There's some over-the-top moments within the other movies, but that's just about going over that line there, and you got to be careful when doing that. So, you know, some of the stunt work is really well done, but some of it is like, be careful how far you're going to take this character. So that's been my review of Die Hard 4.0. If you enjoyed watching this video, I hope you found it informative. I definitely recommend this movie. It's definitely underrated. It deserves a place within the Die Hard franchise. I would only recommend the Die Hard 4.0 Uncut version only on DVD. If you own the Blu-ray, you have the PG-13 version, which is a shame. You shouldn't own that version because it's just a watered down what Die Hard is. I think Die Hard should have an excellent storyline, a good cast, and it should have some violence, have some swear words now and again kind of thing. And the 4.0 version definitely fulfills that kind of thing for me. So go and check it out. It's definitely an underrated movie. If you have not seen it, it's definitely worth doing. So go and check that out. A Good Day to Die Hard is coming out in cinemas in the UK tomorrow. I'm going to be reviewing it probably sometime on the weekend. I'm going to be seeing it in the cinemas, so I'll give you a review for that soon, guys. So, I'll do today.